You know what? We've got a few days left of this transfer window to go, and I'm angry. I'm full of anguish. I'm just so astonished and disappointed, and don't really understand what's actually going on at West Ham. And you take two steps forward and you take three steps back. You have a situation where we know we need to go into the transfer market because we're lacking in options. And even when players do come back fit, we don't have the strength and depth. We've got the new head coach in charge, Graham Potter, who we know is definitely keen on bringing players in to the club, and we're all over the place again. What do I mean by this? Right. So of course we saw the Aston Villa game, and I thought, yeah, game of two halves. I thought we played really good in the second half, and that was positive considering he had not the best tools to hand. But I just always feel like, and I know January transfer window is a tough market, but there are players out there. There are players out there. I'm not going to sit and name them to you just now, but the point is, we know there are players out there, and it just takes you back along that journey of being a West Ham fan, and in particular over the last few years when we've just been 2, 3, 4, 5 million pounds short in getting the deal done. If you look at someone like John Duran, for example, who's now off to Saudi Arabia, when we bid for him back in the summer, if we'd have just paid £5 million more, we would have got him for about £20 million what he's going for. 6 months later, it's one of the most ridiculous things. Like, the player was there, and the reason that Aston Villa stood their ground, and rightly so, is because they had some faith and belief in what that player was capable of doing. And look what's happened now, albeit, yes, you could say sold his soul to Saudi Arabia, but when you've got a player from Colombia who doesn't owe anything to the Premier League, then he is going to go and get that generational wealth that comes his way. But 6 months ago, the player wanted to come to the club, and we just didn't put our hand in the pocket to get the deal over the line. And this is where West Ham fail all the time. We're getting phantom bids left, right, and centre. The rumours are rife about what we're going to do. 1 minute we're not going to loan Evan Ferguson, then we're going to loan Evan Ferguson. Now we're looking at potentially trying to bring him in on a permanent deal. But listen, let's be brutally honest here. It looks like we're going to walk away come the end of the January transfer window with no new signings. And it's the knock on effect I fear for some of the really good players that West Ham have got, because if we don't build upon the the boss, the head coach that we've brought in, which I think we'll do in the summer. I don't doubt that for a second. I think we will do that. We have to do that in the summer, because Graham Potter cannot come to this club and not sit there and turn around and actually say, I'm going to bring in the players that I want. I'm going to transform this club from top to bottom to do the things I need to do to implement the tactics and the skill sets that I need to implement in this team without having the tools at hand. We're still waiting to hear about the Tim Stein situation. We know he's bringing in his own recruitment behind the scenes, but he's played these games now with 2 days to go, and it's so vital, or a day to go, whatever it was in the January transfer window. It's so vital that we have to bring in someone that can add value to this squad, and if we need to bring Evan Ferguson in, and well, when I say we need to, it's the one that you feel is the closest to potentially getting done, because Brighton are very open to this deal getting done. But he does have a bit of an injury record as well, which is a concern. In typical West Ham, you can imagine that's what will happen. But what's gone wrong with our scouting system? What's gone wrong with our recruitment system? What has gone wrong at West Ham? Why are we not trying to get deals done early? Why do we have to wait so late into the window to try and get deals done? Because the reason why is because we've got the owners we've got, and they're just tricksters. They're no good. They're nonsense at negotiation, and they think they're playing a game. But these owners at these clubs are just turning around and saying, "You are idiots, man! When you come in and you under and lowball all these offers." It's very frustrating, because I feel like at some points we take 2 steps forward and then we take 3 steps back. What I mean by 2 steps forward, well, I think we're progressing slightly well and better, definitely better under Potter than what we were under Lopetegui. And we are a few signings short of just giving us that little bit of backup for the season. But you look at our defence and you think Mavropanos, scare, he's a bomb scare at the back of defence. Todibo, constantly rumoured to leave in the club, even though apparently he says he doesn't want to leave the club. Kilman, really, in theory, our only kind of solidified central defender that West Ham have got. And we need to resolve that. So why are we not looking very early doors, October, September, trying to do some negotiation, trying to get some conversations in play, trying to recognise relevant players to come in and offer that team some respite, because right now we don't have any respite. Because when, for example, Mavropanos is not playing, then and Todibo is injured, then look at what we're left with. And then the same can be said for going forward. Fulkrug's injured, Jared Bowen's injured, and we're having to do makeshift centre forwards, and the only recognised striker we've got on the books, Danny Ings, and he's nowhere to be seen. Just constantly frustrating. Constantly frustrated. And we need to put our hand. I'm not asking the club to go in and spend 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 million pounds. Just saying, put your money where your mouth is and go and get the players that the coach wants, and go and get players that will add value to this squad, because other teams are doing it. And listen, again, just to reiterate, the January transfer window is extremely hard. It really is, because you know there's going to be an inflated price, and that's it. But let's really not beat about the bush here. How many times have West Ham paid over the odds for a player? How many times have West Ham paid many, many millions over the odds? How many times have West Ham paid many millions over the odds and then sold a player for £15 million what they less than what they paid? If the Lewis Guilherme rumours are to be true, he's heading out the door and we're losing £15 million on him in the space of 6 months. And you're telling me you won't put your hand in your pocket to potentially pay the money for Ferguson to come into the club? You're telling me you won't put the hand in your pocket or the hand in your money to put the player to bring in the players that we've been linked to? I don't know. Like, the links are relentless, and who knows what's true? We'll only know what's true once they're wearing a West Ham top or on the West Ham website holding up that West Ham top. But either way, over the next couple of days, I feel we're not going to bring anyone else in, and the season's going to dwindle away, and we'll survive, and it will just be a bit crap. We just have to prepare for next season, and maybe that's just what we've got to do. We've got to prepare for next season. Maybe I'm a defeatist. Maybe I've become a half glass empty West Ham fan. Maybe I'm just a little bit fed up. But I'm hoping that Graham Potter can bring the best out of this team than what he's got. Hopefully brings another couple of recruits and he can save the season for me. I'll be happy with that. Join me later on. Come on, your hands.